Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Otumba Adams Show. My name is Adam Solofemila today, and you guys are welcome. Especially, how are you guys doing? How is life? How is work? How is everything in your life? I hope you're soaring, your business is doing well, and life is treating you fairly. And Nigeria is treating you fairly. If you're here in Nigeria, all right. So this is the 150th episode, and on today's episode, we'll be looking at gaining trust and respect among your colleagues, how to gain trust and respect among your colleagues, among your business partners, among people around you. Basically, that's what today's episode is about. But before I dive right into what I have today, as I always do, if this is your first time of being a part of the show and you're probably wondering what the show is about, well, we'll talk about business, entrepreneurship, leadership, and every other thing that could actually help your business and you as a person to grow. All right. And if you're watching live right now and you'd like to introduce yourself, as I would always say, put your name, put your location in the comment section, and I would welcome you specially. All right. So, going into what I have for today, gaining trust and respect among your colleagues. Now, the question then is, why do I need to gain respect? Why do I need to gain their trust? Well, one of the things that I have realized as a business person is that if you want to go far, and if you want to make people to part ways with their money, then you need to be able to gain their trust. You need to be able to gain their respect. If you do not do that, then on the long run, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect the business dynamics you have with other people and the interaction you have with your colleagues at work and the like. So you really need to be able to build the trust and make sure that people actually respect you. And how do you do these? I have about 8 points that I have highlighted here, and I'll be taking them one after the other. Number one on my list is you need to be able to have values. It is very, very important. One of the things that I realize that a lot of people have issues with these days is the fact that they really do not have values, right? They are just there. They don't stand for anything. And I think there's an adage that says that if you cannot stand for something, you would fall for everything, which means that if you do not have values, then everything around you would draw you, both the good and the bad. And when people realize that you don't stand for something, you are not in a particular point that okay, they could actually point at and say that this is what this person stands for, then they would actually have issues with you. They would have issues trusting you. They would have issues respecting you. And on the long run, they would not be able to do business with you because they realize that you're probably not honest, you lack integrity, and you don't have a lot of values that could actually make people to be drawn to you. But when you have these values, right, when you know, okay, what are the values of my workplace and you stick by it, you tell people that okay, this is what the company is about, and you stand by those values, you do not shake. Then to make people to trust you, to make people to respect you. All right, so that's number one on the list. Number two on my list is you need to learn to be inclusive. Now, this one works if you are in a leadership position, right? Right? If you're in a leadership position and you have to deal with a lot of people, if you are being picky and you are just choosing certain people, probably like people that you talk to them more or you rapport with and or you have a rapport with, and you neglect other people, over time, right, those people will begin to resent you. Those people will begin to look for opportunities that they could actually use to bring you down. And before you know it, you would have a form of downfall, right? You just realize that things are not just working for you because those people that you have left out are now working against you. It would affect the way people see you, and that trust will not be there. The respect will not be there. Those people that you've neglected would not respect you. But when you can learn to bring everybody together and then say that, hey, we are all one family, we can actually work together as one, and we have a common goal. This is where we are headed, and we are going to do it together. It's the spirit of unison, right, has a way of binding people and then making people trust you. One of the ways that I realized that this actually works was as at the time I was in secondary school, and there was this thing in Lagos State then that they split secondary schools to senior secondary schools and junior secondary schools, and they brought other people from other schools to my school, right? And the other students were feeling left out, and I was a class captain, and I had to find a way to bring everybody rather together, right? And when those people saw the kind of person I was, they were like, wow, okay, this guy is cool. We could actually relate with him. And it made them to trust me. It made them to respect me. Even till date, some of them still reach out to me and like, dude, you're the bomb. And that's actually the way it works. You need to get to that level that like you are inclusive. You don't segregate, you do not neglect people despite their races, their belief, and everything else. As long as you are in a place that you're trying to like work towards a common goal, right? Then you have to be inclusive. Number 3 on my list is learn to lend a helping hand. Now, one of the things that like you would come to realize is that like people are not going to be as good as you are at some point. And if you choose to be that helping hand, that person that like goes to meet them, they're like, hey, I know that like you're having issues with this. How can I be of help to you? How can I help you to become better than you are right now? And also when you realize that like, okay, maybe the workload that people around you actually have is much more, and you have free time in your hands, you could actually decide to say, hey, I am going to help you out. Can I help you out with this? Can I take 1 or 2 and offload the burden from you, right? If you do that, then trust me, people would trust you and they would respect you over time. Number 4 on my list is see the good in others, right? Now, everybody around you has this potential. They have this thing about them that like makes them unique. And if you can see the good in others, if you can compliment them for that thing that they have in them, right? Yeah, they may not meet up to certain yardsticks, but if you can see the good in them and then cheer them for the good that they do, then these people would actually be able to trust you. They'll be like, wow, okay, I know I'm not perfect, but this person actually sees the good in me, tries to like bring out the good in me, and encourages me to be better. That way, they would actually like say, wow, I respect this guy. I trust this guy. I would love to work with this person. So also in your business, do that. See the good in others. Try to like help them to bring out the good in themselves, and people will trust and respect you. Number 5 is if you're wrong, admit it. Now, this one thing is one of the issues that like a lot of leaders have, and they would never admit it. Whenever they are wrong, right? We could see people in leadership positions. You could see some fathers, some mothers, some parents, some individuals are like they know they are wrong, right? It's been brought to their notice that they are wrong, but because of the fact that like they cannot just say that they are sorry, right? They would always deny the fact that they are wrong. They would always want to like cut corners, and on the long run, people see you for who you are, right? And people would actually like start drawing back because they will realize that like, hey, this person would never admit to his wrong, so therefore, move back. Don't deal with this person. You can't trust this person because if push comes to shove or like something happens, this person would always deny you just to save their own skin. If you're that kind of person, trust me, people would not be able to trust you. They'll not be able to respect you. However, if you realize that like you're wrong, tell people that like, hey, I know I'm wrong. I'm deeply sorry. It will never repeat itself again, right? And it will make people to actually appreciate you the more. Something actually happened around my neighborhood recently, and I had to send a message to the person that like, hey, you did this thing. I really do not appreciate it, right? And can you please stop it? And the person replied that like, hey, I never knew that like it offended you. I am really sorry. It would not happen again. The person admitted to their wrong, and it made me realize that like, hey, this person is someone that I can actually respect for the fact that like, the person could apologize for the thing that they did wrong. All right. Number 6 is get to know them better. All right. Learn to know the people that you're working with. Now, this goes beyond just knowing them on the surface level, on the business level, on the work level. Know their past, know their background, know where they're coming from, know what they believe in, know what they love doing, their hobbies, everything about them that you can actually find out. Now, there's an adage that says that people do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. And if you're trying to know them, you actually care about them, you actually like ask questions based on the things that they've told you, you do follow up, people would actually like respect you the more because they realize that like, hey, you're digging deeper beyond what you're being paid to do. You're trying to like know them on another level, and it actually works. It works wonders. All right. So that's number 6. Number 7, which is the penultimate number, is don't break a promise made. Right. It is very, very easy to make promises, especially when we are happy or when we are angry, right? When your emotions are wild, you could easily make what's the word now? Promises. However, keeping to those promises is very, very key. I think one of the things that like I realized about Nigeria is that like when people borrow money from you, right? They make promises, they say things, and they're like, hey, you know what? I am going to pay you back. I will pay this money back. I promise you. And then on the long run, when they need to pay back, they start giving excuses. And before you know it, a year turns to 2 years, 2 years turns to 3 years, 3 years turns to 4 years. And you lose every respect you had for them. And you find out that like you cannot even just trust them anymore. One of my friends was complaining to me recently that like she borrowed someone about 100,000 naira, and this person promised to pay back, and the next thing, while she was trying to like ask for the money back, this person kept posting to the point that like this person actually blocked her on WhatsApp, such that she would not be able to reach out to him. Now, irrespective of whatever it is that like the guy is going through, right? Nigeria could happen to anybody at any given point in time. However, there's something called asking or like begging for more time. All right. It's very, very key. Like talk to the person, which actually takes me to my very last point, which is never assume, always communicate. All right. The one thing that like a lot of people have issues with is communication, right? They prefer to just assume. I assume you are brilliant. I assume you know how to do this. I assume you know how to do that. But you never communicated that thing to the person. Something is hurting you. You do not communicate with the person. You just assume that like the person should know that like they have actually done wrong. Communication is key. If you're feeling anything at any point in time, learn to be able to like put your thoughts together in a proper way and then communicate it with the other person. Tell the person how you feel. Tell the person what you expect from them. Tell the person what you do not like or what you like or what you appreciate about them. But make sure that you are constantly communicating. It is very, very, very key. You need to learn to communicate with people. And if you do that, if you communicate with them, you are constantly updating them as to the things that like you guys are working on, right? It will make them trust you the more, even when things are not going well, right? But you come around, you communicate to them, tell them that like, hey, see, this is the state of things. It is not working out as I thought. This is my plan to getting back on my feet or something of that nature. Then people will be like, okay, we know things can happen, and we trust you. One of an example I'm going to give is as at the time that like I was into farming, and I had an issue with the farm. It was not going as I planned. All I just had to do was call a meeting, tell the investors that like, hey, you know what? This has gone down the drain. This wasn't what I planned out. However, because of my integrity, I have to pay you guys back. Can you guys give me a period of time? I'm going to start with the first person. I'll pay off the first person, then I'll move on to the next person. And they understood. Funnily, one of them came back to tell me like, hey, you know what? I know things happen. You really do not have to pay back. So I only had to pay back 2 other people because I was sincere enough to communicate with them what the update was. And I paid back over time. And that is how it's meant to be. People would always trust you and respect you when you learn how to communicate. And this brings us to the end of today's episode. I am sure that like you've been able to learn 8 things, definitely not one thing, 8 things that could actually help you to make people to respect, to make people to trust you in business, in your workplace, in your personal life, and the likes. Okay, as I always say, if you're watching me, please like, subscribe, share with your loved ones. All right, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, please share with people and tell them about the show. And as I always say, be the best God has created you to be. And I'm going to add one more thing to it. Do it afraid. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to have everything complete, but if you have an idea in your head, do it afraid, go out there, soar, and be the best God has created you to be. My name remains Adam Solofimilajide, and from me to you, have a great weekend and see you next week. Bye-bye.